Hello and welcome to another video from OOrail. This video continues our Sharing Your Mall Railway series, and today we're going to take a look at lighting. So one of the things that I learned after a couple of years of doing YouTube videos was that every so often people would complain that they couldn't see something or the lighting was a little dull, and it turns out that while the video usually picks up pretty decently under the standard lighting that we have here, just regular light bulbs in the basement, I discovered pretty quickly that the videos turned out a lot better with better lighting. So I upgraded some of the lighting here in the basement to sort of stronger light bulbs a few years ago. I think I was using 100-watt light bulbs or the LED equivalent, and they turned out pretty well. You can see through the tunnel here in the background where the light is kind of directly above the layout. It's working pretty well. But here in the foreground and clear off in the distance, you can see that it's not quite as bright. And if you've ever seen a lot of the earlier OOrail videos, they were sort of done in this particular section where that light's shining. So what I've done is, you may have noticed in the last year or so that the lighting had improved quite a bit in the main other part of the layout. And the reason for that was actually upgraded to kind of this longer strip lighting. And we'll show you now exactly what. So if you look up here, you can see we just have a standard light bulb, standard fixture. Like I said, I think this is the 100-watt equivalent or 80-watt equivalent in LED. And it works pretty well, shines light pretty decently around the part of the layout that the light bulb is under. But because of the way the layout is set up and it's kind of long lengthwise, you get a lot of shadows and it's kind of more difficult to see, especially when you're filming. Now most of the time it looks okay on the video, but you know, people are right. You sort of need to kind of improve the lighting in order to really make a big difference. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to show you the newer part of the layout that has the updated lighting already, and then we'll show you exactly what we're going to do in this section in order to improve. So if you look off into the distance, you'll see that we have a lot of these strip lights, and they kind of go from clear back there all the way up here to the just almost above the Chippenham Junction stuff, above those Mach 3 coaches that are roughly here. And so what I did was, that's actually just one light fixture. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's got 5 kind of interconnected strip lights. So these are LED strip lights. They basically have a little connector on the end that allows you to interconnect them together. So that allows you to just use one outlet or one main supply, and then you can basically interconnect the rest of them. If you look off in the distance, there's actually 2 other parallel sets of lights, and basically I've interchanged between the 4-foot and the 2-foot versions, as well as the 4-foot and dual light versions. And so I found that using the 4-foot ones with the dual lights the whole way down was just way too bright. Kind of look like you're on an alien spaceship. So it's kind of intermixed between the two, seemed to create enough lighting, and just having it slightly above the layout and offset a little bit kind of reduces the amount of direct light on the layout. So it's still bright, but it doesn't create any kind of weird shadows, so it looks more realistic. These ones I got here in the States at Lowe's, but you can find these kind of interconnecting LED lights pretty much anywhere. Alright, so I'm going to use this as a sort of before picture. So you can see here with all the lights off in Chippenham Junction, but still have the main lights on. It's pretty dark in this area compared to over there with the Heljan boxes and stuff, where you can see it's a lot brighter. And the reason for that is that there's just no light directly above the layout here. And so while normally it looks fine, I mean, I'm looking at this and you know it looks okay, it's no problem. When you're filming videos, the direct light actually works a lot better, makes things look brighter, kind of reduce kind of pixelation and stuff in your videos as well. So it's definitely worth the time and effort and investment. And obviously the layout here, OOrail's a bit bigger than what you'd normally have. So like in this section of the layout here, which is like 4-foot by 8-foot, you could probably get away with 2 or maybe 3 double LED lights, or 2 singles and a double. So just keep that in mind. You don't need to go to the extreme that we have. It's just because this layout is so large. Alright, so what we're going to do next is grab one of the boxes, just so you guys can see exactly what we're installing. Okay, so I'm not sure if you can see this, but this is basically the Utilitech Pro. This is the 24-inch or 2 version double LED light strip, and basically it's going to go and be plugged in right into the end of that. So we won't actually be hooking this up to the mains. It's going to basically plug directly into that one. And actually, for this particular section of layout, I'm going to use a 48-inch one, which is the 4-foot one. And the reason for that is I can get the 4-foot one above here right to the end of the where the layout is, and then where the lights go perpendicular or at a 90-degree angle down the other way, we're going to use the smaller one just so that it fits in there, so the lights don't kind of clash or collide into each other, using longer ones. Alright, so what I'm going to do next is basically I'm going to get to work and install these, and you guys will see kind of the before and after. Okay, so you can see here it's made a huge difference to this section of the layout. It's just the one light that's gone in directly above it, and you can see there's a dramatic difference. You can see a lot of the imperfections now in this part of the layout. So I'm going to go and I'm going to do a couple of different camera views just so you can see exactly what kind of difference it's made to the whole. So you can see it's made quite a bit of a difference. If I go and grab something simple, just put it on the layout here so you can see, just having that extra bit of lighting makes it easy to see everything. If I flip this around, you should be able to see the weathering and stuff. It just makes it a lot easier to see. I'm going to go, like I said, show you some other camera angles as well. So one other thing before we wrap up the video, I wanted to show you the workbench area. So this area is on the opposite side of the layout room, railway room, and basically it's here for me to do like how-to videos and stuff like that. I do a lot of testing on it. You can see here I've got an oscilloscope, which is kind of a little bit of a giveaway of what's coming up with Tech Tuesday and the Arduino stuff. So it's still in the pipeline for people eagerly anticipating that. What I wanted to show you is that you don't necessarily need to run these big huge lights, especially if you have a smaller layout. This one here is actually a kitchen cabinet light, and if I see that this here is basically just a very simple, I think I got this for a Walmart, like $12. It's the brightest light that I could find. So what you want to look for is this is an LED under the cabinet light, and it also actually, you can connect them together on the ends, and if you don't want to do the electrical wiring, it actually has a nice little plug in here, and you can switch it off like so, and then switch it back on as needed. So this particular one, like I said, was only about $12. There's no electrical wiring. You can mount it straight above your layout and plug it into your mains, and these things are all over the place in your kitchen store, cabinet stores, hardware stores, wherever you want to go. One thing I will say is that these things vary quite dramatically in brightness. So what you want to look for is the lumens rating. I believe this one's about 9,000 or 900 or 1,000 lumens. So that's kind of like what you want to look for. You want to try to get the brightest one that you can get that will shine down on your layout. One thing I did notice was at Lowe's, they had some really expensive ones that were like only 400, 500 lumens. They were up in the $50, $60 range. You don't really need anything like that. These things will last forever, and it's pretty straightforward. Now this is the same light that we used for the white box, DIY white box video that I showed recently, and I'll stick a link up here to that as well. Okay, so this is the engine shed at Chippenham Junction. You'll have to excuse the mess of boxes that are down the far end. Kind of renovating this part of the layout, and I've got a whole bunch of new lookers that came in, so you'll see some of that over the next couple of weeks and different videos and so on. But I just wanted to show you, you know, like I said, the different camera angles and how well this is now lit up. So if I pan the camera around, you can see right back there in the distance, just like up above there, that the lighting hasn't been installed yet in that part of the layout, and so it's obviously a lot darker if you see the coach there in the background. It's not being picked up by the light at all. if I pan the camera upwards here, move my finger out of the way, you can see that the dual light there is basically just plugged into the other one, and that was the only changes I really had to make. It basically clipped right in on the end, and I just had to screw it into the ceiling in a couple of places to support it. And they're super light, so if you don't actually have a beam to screw it into, you can just use wall plugs, and it'll stay up there pretty well. I typically use some white electrical tape around the perimeter. That's more so these Asian ladybug type things, or kind of look like ladybirds, but they're not. Those insects come in from outside, especially in the springtime, so it's kind of a precaution so I don't have too many of them down here in where the layout is. You can also see the layout sign for Gibonum Junction there. You can get those from scale model sceneries. They're pretty cool. And you can see here, like I said, the whole section of the layout is just now well lit, and you can see some of the things I now need to fix. And this makes not only producing the videos a lot easier and a lot clearer, it also makes it easier for me to actually see stuff that I might have missed while I'm working on the layout. So I'm quite pleased with it. So this week I've got, I think, like 4 more of these things to install. They're actually going to be installed down the lengthways here to light up the rest of the layout. If you ever watched any of my original videos, you'd see that there's very little lighting. It's just the kind of 80, 100 watt bulb that you see sitting up there, basically lighting up this whole section of the layout. So this new set of LED lights has made a tremendous difference. And if I just take the camera here and pan it up, you can see I've run this set of strips from this end of the layout clear down to the other one. So that's all powered off of just one ceiling outlet. I think the double one there in the middle is the one which is actually connected to the actual outlet box, and then everything else is wired directly into it by DC. So it's all good. Alright, so that's it for this video. Like I said, lighting is probably pretty important, especially if you're doing YouTube videos. It's also helpful if you get older and can't see as well as you could before, which I'm starting to get there. So that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any comments or suggestions on lighting products for people to check out, please put it in the comments below. Otherwise, we'll wait till the next video.